This week in Jamaica Now, probe underway. An 80-year-old St. Ann woman murdered. The police say she was savagely beaten and her house set ablaze. Former PNP MP Jolyan Silvera accused of the murder of his wife to know on May 14 if he'll be granted bail. Revenue shortfall. The opposition has questions.
The minister needs to tell the country which programs will be negatively impacted by this revenue shortfall and whether the $25 billion of givebacks which were announced in March are sustainable.
And
Buju Banton, welcome back to your second home. Buju Banton, my brother, he back.
Buju Banton is back in the United States. I'm Jovan Johnson and this is Jamaica Now. The St. Ann community of Spring Garden in Bamboo remains in shock over the alleged rape and murder of an 80-year-old woman on Wednesday. She has been identified as Sylvia Barrett. Her house was set ablaze. The police report that about 6:15 p.m., fire was seen coming from Barrett's house by her granddaughter who lives next door. An alarm was raised and the police and the fire department were called. Residents, including Miss Barrett's granddaughter, tried to extinguish the blaze. Firefighters who arrived on the scene conducted a cooling down operation. The police say the damaged house was checked and the elderly woman's body was seen in the dining room, lying on its back with both hands tied above her head with an orange-colored electrical wire and her feet tied with the same color wire. They further say she also had what appeared to be female clothing tied to her hand, over her face and feet. The scene was processed by the forensic experts and visited by other police personnel from the St. Ann Division. The investigation is being carried out by detectives from the St. Ann's Bay Criminal Investigation Branch. Former PNP Member of Parliament for Western St. Mary, Jolyan Silvera, who is charged with the murder of his wife, will know on May 14 if he will be granted bail. The bail application was made on Thursday by his attorneys, King's Counsel Peter Champagny and Attorney-at-Law Patrice Riley. Newly appointed Acting Director of Public Prosecutions, Claudette Thompson, represented the Crown. Melissa Silvera, wife of the accused, was found dead in the couple's home in Stony Hill, St. Andrew on November 10 last year. It was first reported that the 42-year-old woman died in her sleep from natural causes. However, an autopsy performed 3 weeks later revealed that she died from gunshot wounds. 3 bullet fragments were found inside her body, which led the police to commence a murder investigation. Now, Mr. Silvera, a 52-year-old businessman, was arrested and charged on January 18 with his wife's murder. And Omar Collymore, the businessman on trial for the murder of his wife for her insurance, refuted reports from his ex-mistress that he said he would leave his wife for her. During his trial this week, he denied the mistress's claims, saying instead that it was he who ended their 3-year love affair 2 months before his wife was murdered. He alleged that the woman kept begging him to rekindle the romance because she could not afford her rent. Mr. Collymore is being tried for 2 counts of murder in connection with the January 2, 2018 gun killing of Simone Campbell Collymore and her taxi driver Winston Walters. The 2 were shot multiple times outside the couple's apartment complex in Red Hill, St. Andrew by 2 men on motorbikes. The alleged contract killer, Michael Adams, and alleged accomplices Dwayne Pink and Shaquilla Edwards are also on trial. Mr. Collymore, who is a father of 2 children, has admitted that he would have been entitled to an insurance payout of $76 million if his wife died. Prosecutors have branded him a stranger to the truth. Phone evidence shows Mr. Collymore making dozens of calls with the alleged contract killer up to the time of his wife's murder. But Mr. Collymore has maintained that he was in constant communication with the alleged contract killer about business regarding the sale of phones. The police have arrested and charged an illegal taxi operator, 37-year-old Peter Bramwell, who was seen on video attacking another motorist following an accident on Halfway Tree Road in St. Andrew on April 26. Head of the Police Traffic Branch, Assistant Commissioner Gary McKenzie, says Mr. Bramwell has been charged with malicious destruction of property, assault occasioning bodily harm and disorderly conduct.
On or about 6 p.m. on April 26th, 2024, the police were alerted to an incident that occurred along Halfway Tree Road in the vicinity of the National Baking Company. What we gather is that there was a motor vehicle crash between a Toyota Probox motorcar and a Pyro motorcar. As a result of that crash, the driver of the Toyota Probox motorcar became enraged and sought to attack the driver of the Pajero motor car. What the driver of the Probox motor car did was to use an object to hit out the driver door glass of the Pajero motor car. The driver, in an effort to avoid being hurt, had to disembark his vehicle through the passenger front door. Other persons who were on the scene intervened and eventually caused the driver of the Probox motor car, who by then had gone on to arm himself with a machete, to calm down.
Mr. Bramwell has 4 traffic warrants and 61 outstanding tickets. ACP Mackenzie says the warrants were handed down after Mr. Bramwell failed to pay tickets issued for no motor vehicle insurance coverage, operating a motor vehicle without a road license, obscuring registration plate, and failing to obey a constable's command. Finance Minister Dr. Nigel Clark has reported a multi-billion-dollar shortfall in revenue collections, a development which has implications for the $1.3 trillion budget for the current fiscal year. The Finance Ministry this week released data for the 2023-2024 financial year that ended on March 31. Government revenues for last year were $97.5 billion, $22.4 billion less than budgeted. Tax revenues were $78 billion, or $24.8 billion less than what was projected. The ministry said the revenue underperformance was primarily due to the revenue outturn for March 2024. The ministry said the government has commenced an assessment of the options to ensure prudent fiscal operations and the attainment of legislated targets. The ministry said the main contributor to the shortfall was corporate income tax, which was $14.3 billion lower than programmed for the fiscal year. It said several companies and individuals who filed their tax returns did not make the indicated tax payments within the required timeline. The ministry said the government will be pursuing payment related to these returns via its comprehensive compliance systems. Meanwhile, opposition spokesman on finance Julian Robinson says the government should state how the shortfall will impact the $25 billion worth of givebacks announced for the current financial year.
The minister needs to tell the country which programs will be negatively impacted by this revenue shortfall and whether the $25 billion of givebacks which were announced in March are sustainable. Further, the minister must explain whether the achievement of key fiscal targets in the current fiscal year will be compromised. Our call comes against the background of the fact that the minister has not provided any information on the $25 billion which will come from the securitization of receivables, which was announced during the budget debate. To date, no information is known as to which receivables are being securitized, the rate at which these receivables have been discounted, and who we have entered into this agreement with. The opposition is concerned that the shortfall will have a negative impact on many programs that the government intends to execute during this fiscal year.
And Jamaica's net international reserves up to March 31 was $5.1 billion, the first time it has exceeded the $5 billion mark. Bank of Jamaica put the country's gross reserves at $5.2 billion. The reserves are important in providing an adequate quantity of foreign exchange needed as a cushion in the event of a fallout due to external shocks such as oil price rise. For the first time in recent years, a public opinion poll has found the opposition People's National Party (PNP) with a notable lead over the governing Jamaica Labour Party (JLP). The findings were released this week in a Don Anderson poll that was commissioned by the PNP. Some 36.8% of respondents indicated that they would vote for the PNP if a general election were to be called shortly, while 29% said the JLP. The figures amount to a 7.8 percentage point lead for the PNP, a significant pull when compared to the 1, 3 and 5 percentage point leads the opposition party has been holding over the governing party in the last year. Some 19.1% of respondents remain undecided, while 15% have indicated that they will not vote. The survey was conducted between April 4 and 12 and involved 1,057 persons who are registered to vote. The poll has a margin of error of plus or minus 3%. Meanwhile, Information Minister Robert Morgan on Wednesday declined to comment on the poll.
The first thing I wish to say and the last thing I wish to say is that that wasn't discussed at Cabinet, so I have no comment on that. Could you go on to your next question, please?
He also said Prime Minister Andrew Holness will judge his performance as the government's chief spokesman.
The Information Minister's duty is to transfer information from Cabinet to the country, which I do here every Wednesday and which you're a part. Additionally, to manage agencies such as Jamaica Information Service from an oversight policy perspective, PBCJ, Jamaica Information Service, and so on. The assessment of my performance or lack thereof is determined by the Prime Minister's actions and decisions. So I can't comment on my own performance. I have to wait on the Prime Minister, the Cabinet, and the public to comment on that.
Mr. Morgan resigned as chairman of the JLP's Public Relations Committee following a meeting of the party's central executive last month. Former PNP MP Dwayne Vas on Tuesday pleaded guilty to failing without reasonable cause to provide information requested by the Integrity Commission, IC, on his 2019 declaration of income and assets. A week ago, an IC report revealed a recommendation for Mr. Vas to be charged for failing to provide information requested by the Commission. Mr. Vas has produced a 2021 letter from the IC, which said his declaration was checked and in compliance with the law. Government MP Errol Warmington and his opposition colleague Julian Robinson said the Commission needs to provide more information in light of Mr. Vas producing the clearance letter. And Justice Minister Delroy Chuck has once again called on the Integrity Commission to update the country on the 6 lawmakers being probed for alleged illicit enrichment. Tourism Minister Edmund Bartlett says nearly 9,500 persons are now registered with the Tourism Workers Pension Scheme. Some 7,027 are contributing members. Mr. Bartlett says on Tuesday that the total contributions to the pension scheme is now $1.63 billion. And Mr. Bartlett says 40% of the $4.38 billion that the tourism sector earned for the 2023-2024 fiscal year was retained in the Jamaican economy.
Tourism is an import that you export. So you have to bring in the product first. So the cost of bringing the tourists here, airlines, the marketing arrangements, advertising, and then the issues of the capital expenditures that have been made to create the facilities here and the infrastructure for the tourists. So all of these are external payments that have to be made. And then the costs for the tour operators and travel agents and so on, all of those are costs that have to be made. Now, when that is over, you now have to deal with the domestic costs, starting with the taxation. So 60 cents of the dollar is away, has to be. And then it also engages with importation of goods and services that we don't have in Jamaica. Food, for example.
Veteran dancehall DJ Buju Banton, whose real name is Mark Myrie, is back in the United States of America and declaring that God is good.
Buju Banton, welcome back to your second home. Buju Banton, my brother, he back. He in Miami right now. First of all, I love you, brother.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? Anybody that know DJ Khaled?
God is amazing, brother.
God is
I want to say enough love to all the people out there. This is Buju Banton. I want to say enough love to you all my fans out there.
Yes.
And all the other states.
Yes, that's
in the
right.
United States of America.
That's right, that's right.
Gargamel is back.
And an excited DJ Khaled in an Instagram Live on Thursday officially welcomed Buju Banton back to Florida.
I'm in Miami, okay? I'm in Miami. You know when it's my yard, my damn Miami. Buju Banton is in Miami right now. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Yo, Buju, man, talk to your Miami and America, the world fans. Talk to them.
Greetings, my people. It's been a long time. I haven't seen you. It's been a long time. These feet have to walk on this side, But nothing before the time. And now is the time. So let's get music going. Let's get the vibe going.
Yes.
Let's pick up ourselves. And let's remember who we are.
That's right.
And let's get lively.
Buju was deported to Jamaica on December 7, 2018, following his release from prison. He served close to 10 years for conspiracy to possess with intent to distribute 5 or more kilograms of cocaine. And that's it for this edition of Jamaica Now, your weekly review of the big news stories. Send us your comments at onlinefeedback@gleanerjm.com. Follow us on X, formerly Twitter, and Instagram at Jamaica Gleaner, and on Facebook at Gleaner Jamaica. Like this video on our YouTube page, turn on your notification, and subscribe today. I'm Jovan Johnson, and before we go, Education Minister Favour Williams, National Security Minister Dr. Horace Chang, and Police Commissioner Dr. Kevin Blake led a visit to the Grange Hill High School in Westmoreland this week. The visit followed last month's shooting of 2 students, one fatally.
We cannot yield. We cannot seize this community to persons with ill intent. Right? Last year we had a very good year in this area. Crime in general in the Westmoreland area has seen a very marginal increase, particularly violent crimes. But in this specific area, in the Greenchip area, we're seeing a major increase in murders and shooting over last year. The school exists in an environment, and it is not detached from the environment. And so whilst we can take care of you in the confines of the school, we have to ensure that the threat forces out there is dealt with. And so we're looking at identifying these individuals. And let me tell you, we know who they are. We know who they are. They have our attention, and we will be doing everything in our power to remove them. In the meantime, I'm imploring on you, students, you are the future, right? And it's not just some words strung together. You are the future. Do not be dragged in crime. Stay away from crime. Criminality and gangsterism is not cool. It is not cool. Let me assure you that you will not be taking this journey on your own. We are here for you, and we will be here with you.